Welcome to the Big Success Show. Today, how to conquer this paralyzing pair of fears.
Big Success with the Professor and Mary-Lynn.
The thing that holds so many people back is that they're afraid to succeed because they have a paralyzing pair of fears. Hi, I'm George Kruger, a.k.a. the Professor.
And I'm Mary-Lynn, so let's dive right in because what are these paralyzing pair of fears that are holding so many people back?
Well, number one is many people are driven by the fear of failure. Fear of failure, number one. And then number two, we are afraid, in many cases, of the unknown. It's a frequent companion to that fear of failure. And with this pair, man, oh man, is it easy to get stuck.
Oh, man. In big success, what we say is big success is about entrepreneuring your life. Thinking like an entrepreneur in your life, in your business, and in your career. Taking control to create the life of your dreams.
Now, your life is your enterprise, if you follow us. So you're the owner of this enterprise. Mm-hmm. And so here you are. It's your own small business. Your life is your own little small business, and you're the person in charge.
And so that makes you an entrepreneur.
Absolutely
right. Do
right.
entrepreneurs experience this dismal duel of fears, the fear of failure and the fear of the unknown?
Without question.
And as the entrepreneur of your life, how can you conquer these frightful fears? Let's pull out the professor's whiteboard for the answers.
I have a paralyzing fear of opening this closet every time, Mary-Lynn.
I have a fear that you're never going to clean it out. That's it. Anyway. All right. So how to get past this paralyzing pair of fears. Number one on the whiteboard is to replace your fear of failure with the fear of not trying. Now, you probably really won't think about it the way that we're about to describe it here, but you're going to feel it when it happens.
Yeah, not trying, it just eats at you. I've experienced this firsthand. I mean, boy, if I ever find myself in a position where I could have tried something and I didn't, I look back and it's just like, oh, you get that sick feeling in the pit of your stomach, and it spurs you to overcome inertia and to take action. Once you sense it, once you sense this fear of not trying kicking in, you're going to use the replacement technique. You will replace one fear with another.
I know, wait a minute. Isn't fear of something that you need actually to stare down? And can't fear be positive? Can't it help drive you forward?
You bet it can, Mary-Lynn.
Okay.
You're going to replace that fear of failure with the fear of not trying. One of the techniques for changing any habit is to substitute.
So fear doesn't go away completely.
Fear doesn't go away exactly. But the thing is, the most successful people have this fear of not trying. So specifically, you're going to know you're ready to do something big.
And that's big with 2 G's.
When your fear of not trying overwhelms your fear of failure.
So what you're saying here is that it's really a conscious choice. You get to ultimately choose your regret, so to speak.
Yeah, and Mary-Lynn, if you think about it, the regret menu only has 2 items on it. You can regret what you did, or you can regret what you didn't do. And order whichever one you want, and it's going to be yours.
Order up. All right. Most people don't think about the second one. They're driven by the first, right?
Absolutely. And if they try something and fail, then they feel regret.
But both research and anecdotal evidence from people close to death show that regrets about what you didn't do are tougher to overcome. In our show notes for this podcast episode, we link to a study titled What We Regret and Why, which shows that inaction regrets are the hardest to overcome. We also link to podcast episode number 720, which features a book by Bronnie Ware. And the book is about the top regrets of people who were dying.
Yeah, and I guess just to give some perspective, she was a nurse for people in their final days. So she was witnessing people right at the end of life. And it's funny how much we can learn about living from people who are dying.
Right. And the top 5 regrets are eye-opening. And you owe it to yourself to listen to that show.
Yeah, there's a great poet named John Greenleaf Whittier, and he said it best, I think, for all sad words of tongue and pen, the saddest are these. It might have been. You know, you're not most people. You're here. You're a winner. You are driven by, and you will be driven by, what might be. So you can live with failure, but you cannot accept not trying. That's the attitude of a winner.
Absolutely. But it's more than that. And so that brings us to number 2 on the professor's whiteboard. Don't try to predict the future. Create your future.
Yeah, you know, we live in incredibly uncertain and volatile times. Change is occurring at a pace so much faster than anybody's ability to keep up with it. It's mind-boggling.
But you're no ordinary human being. As George said, you are the cream of the crop. You are extraordinary.
Did you say extraordinary? Extraordinary. That's what you are, Mary-Lynn. You're extraordinary.
That's what you are.
But while the average person sits around waiting for things to show up, like waiting for things to happen, successful people accept the fact that you can't predict the future. You know, this is what we try to teach in college, how to predict the future, and then you create your plan from there. Entrepreneurs actually kind of do it just the opposite. They don't try to they don't try to predict the future. They create the future. That's what you need to do. Create your future. Now, this isn't a naive point of view. In fact, it's quite sophisticated, because with this realization, this thing that all successful entrepreneurs get, with that, you focus on the downside. More specifically, you work to limit the risk of trying something. You know, and the thing is, if you can begin actively engaging your mind with how to make it work, then it's more likely going to work, and you're going to be able to minimize the risk in doing it so it becomes affordable.
And note that while you're doing this, most people are still listing off all the reasons that it won't work.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing because action creates so much good things, right? And so successful entrepreneurs realize that, but the person who's just kind of got this fear of failure and just kind of scared to do anything because
stuck with that paralyzing pair of
precisely
fears.
They continue to convince themselves that they would be a failure. And you know what? Unfortunately, self-fulfilling prophecy, they probably will be.
But you're busy mitigating the risk.
Yeah, once you get the downside to an acceptable level, then you can give your idea a try and not worry about it.
One way that you overcome fear is that you start small.
Yeah, you test it. You're still in the research and development stage.
And what's great is that you're learning while most people are still back there worrying.
And remaining paralyzed by fear.
So let's review the professor's whiteboard, how to overcome the 2 paralyzing pair of fears, fear of failure and fear of the unknown. 1, replace the fear of failure with the fear of not trying. And 2, don't try to predict the future, create your future.
You can use these tips to turn your fears into an ally, not an adversary. It leads to big success.
To move past fear and move forward in your life, take our life purpose quiz. It's free, and you'll find it at Big Success. That's big with 2 G's, success.com. And we hope you'll join us next time. If you're thinking about a career change and don't know where to start, we're going to share 4 questions to ask yourself for a smooth career change.
And we thank you so much for listening today.
Until next time,
here's to your big success.
Find big success at biggsuccess.com.